I basically have to buy a cheap island and then build a nice island, build an irrigation system so the trees don't die, build a beach, build a pier, build buildings on it, because that's cheaper than just buying an already done island. No one's ever going to do what we're doing. Like, we're idiots.
So we've talked about this before. You're familiar with the success that Daryl and myself and our partners have seen with The Chosen. I'm noticing that there's other creators out there doing their own platforms. Just recently on our podcast, Jake Watson from Corridor Crew or Corridor Digital was on. And
how are they doing?
No, they're doing great. They're awesome. And if you play D&D, they're the best people to play with. When you're in LA, we'll go over and hang out with Sam, Nico, and Jake.
And they have a subscription platform, right?
Yes. And so
how much is it a month?
It's $4 a month. And what they've realized is that one person paying $4 a month to get the equivalent of that individual on YouTube, they need to watch several thousand videos. And so have you ever thought of having your own platform or having your own site that is different than what you're doing on YouTube, that's different than what you're doing on TikTok, but their series is called Son of a Dungeon. And, there's a very niche crowd out there that want to see episodes around Dungeons and Dragons, but there's definitely a market fit and there's a market, a huge demand for it. And
do you know how many paying subs they have?
I don't know how many paying subs that they have, but like it has, I believe, almost doubled their business.
I love YouTube. YouTube's always going to be my main priority, but for like the hardcore fans, I'm not opposed to doing like a Beast World or some other thing that's like $10 a month, and we do exclusive content and some live streams and stuff like that, and just make this really kick-ass things for people who want more of us. Because like we're talking about, the videos are getting so expensive that would be a great way to generate more revenue for them and more predictable revenue. Because these videos are so big and we're working on so many that, like, if I knew, like, hey, I have 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers paying $10 a month, I have a guaranteed $1 million coming in next month from this thing. That would allow me to be a little bit more aggressive and do bigger videos on the main channel. So if I did do it, the ultimate goal would be to use the money to make better main channel videos, but also obviously add value, because everything we do has got to be great. But yeah, no, actually, I'm honestly seriously considering it. I think it would be a good idea.
Well, it's interesting. They're the only creator that I know that has hired like data scientists and data engineers. You're really looking at the details and figuring out how do you optimize to be successful. And your mentality and your work ethic, it's just amazing that you just keep pushing these boundaries and you keep doing things that, as we mentioned earlier, creators haven't imagined doing, but TV production companies haven't imagined doing. And you're working at a speed that no one can compete with. How is that going to change things across the industry? This is obviously something I think Joe Rogan has brought up to you in the past as well, and others. Just fascinated with the amount of content you're pushing out there and how high quality the content is. And not to give you a question to flatter yourself, but is it going to get to the point where there's other creators that are doing this, where how Netflix, Amazon, and any video platform
Paramount,
that are buying content, they're going to have to look at things differently?
Yeah, see, I'd rather I ask you that question and you answer it, because I don't like trying to gas myself up or whatever.
Okay, well, I'll respond to that question. I think the stuff that you're doing is going to change everything in entertainment history, and in the future. Yes, 100%. Because how many of these like long form platforms like the SVODs that are out there that are able to create this much content this fast at this level of production value this quickly? Usually people go in and they film their series, they take their time, as much time as they need to do that. When I meet with you and your team, you're all moving at 100 miles an hour all the time. And I question if, that's sustainable, but more and more I speak to you, and every year that goes by, you're breaking records over and over again. And so I truly believe that people are going to look at this as a data point and try to figure out, what do they change systematically to be able to do what you're doing?
I would love to work with, I wouldn't. I don't have time to do it, but it would be funny to like sit on set of like a Netflix production or some other production and just kind of compare how they do things to us. Because anytime I work with a traditional production crew, it's always way more expensive, way longer lead times, way longer everything, and a lot less pivotability, like the ability to pivot and change things last minute. And so I couldn't imagine, honestly. Like, but also, Also, if what we had to film was scripted, because what we do is non-scripted, so you have to plan for a bunch of variables that you can't control, blah blah. If what we did was scripted, holy shit, this stuff would be easy to pump out. Like no tomorrow. Scripted stuff has to be
Really?
the easiest thing on the planet. Yeah, because you already know what's coming. You know what I mean? Like the hard part is like figuring out like all the variables for someone you don't know, and you don't know what they're gonna do, and you don't know what they're gonna say, and you don't know how they're gonna act. But if you could tell someone what to say and how to act, then it's like easy as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's I was not expecting that. I expected that to actually take longer, but I guess the unscripted element, there's a lot of surprises and curveballs that come with that. I mean, you're not only renting cruise ships, but you're buying and giving away islands.
Well, we're terraforming an island. This island we have to import a couple hundred trees because it was uglier in person than online. We're importing like 10,000 pounds of sand. We're having to build the beach. We're building a pier on it. We have to build enough unique scenes because some of the challenges require us going across the island. We don't want it to just be a beach and grass, so we're building unique scenes throughout it with random structures and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like, we're literally terraforming an island. You know what I mean? No one's ever gonna do what we're doing. Like we're idiots, right? Like
I mean, well, you have a lot of people on your team that understand construction too and development, and which is, I don't think most creators out there.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's difficult, but it's like to buy an island. Like when you picture a private island, what you're picturing in your head is like $10+ million. I don't have that kind of budget. I need to spend like $1 million on an island and then $500,000 terraforming it, importing sand, importing trees, making it look pretty. And so, yeah, it's like if I want to do this video and I want to do it right, like I basically have to buy a cheap island and then build a nice island, build an irrigation system so the trees don't die, build a beach, build a pier, build buildings on it, because that's cheaper than just buying an already done island.
Wow. See, that's a question I would have never asked myself of like, what's more expensive, an island that already has a beach or buying an island and making a beach?
Exactly, because you can buy islands that are just rocks, and then you can import 10,000 pounds of sand, a couple hundred trees, build an irrigation system, put shrubbery on it, build some buildings, and there you go. Now it's a great private island. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. That's just a whole other level of thinking. I want to ask you about your businesses. Like, you have Beast Burger, Feastables. What are you the most excited about right now when it comes to like your brands? Because you've proven to not only build your own Hollywood, but you're also building a bunch of brands too.
I'm excited. Feastables is going to launch in thousands of stores later this year. I can't say which ones, but I'm excited about that because I call it like IRL thumbnails. Like when I was 13, if I walked into, we'll just say hypothetically a 7-Eleven gas station, parents are getting gas, I walk in there. If I saw a Hershey's bar and a PewDiePie bar, I'm buying the PewDiePie bar 100 times out of 100 times. Like, that's the coolest thing ever to me. If I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, it's like, oh my gosh, why? Especially if it tastes just as good, high quality ingredients, it's a good chocolate bar, right? I'm buying it every day of the week. And so I think we're going to get the similar effect as we start to we've done over $10 million in sales, and we're not even in retail yet. That's just all straight online.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
all around the Feastables.
Yeah, just around Feastables. And so I think, I call it IRL thumbnails when our audience is walking through these stores and they see it, because people buy chocolate bars. They do crazy amounts of revenue every year. Why would they buy a normal one when they could buy one of their favorite creators? You know what I mean? Because I know if I was in their shoes, I would do the same thing in a heartbeat. And it's cool. It's really cool. And our bars are high quality ingredients and they're not super processed and they taste great. So it's like, anyways, I'm excited to get our bars in as many retail stores as possible and just hopefully expand it to where we're in 10,000 different locations one day. And I think, like I said, IRL thumbnails, the fact that it's ours and, they're great quality and they taste great, I think it's just going to destroy.
I agree. I love the Feastables products. Like, they're great. And I subscribed to 69420. By the way, that's it for everyone that's hearing that, listening. That is the phone number that you text to get updates on Feastables. And it's great.
If you text Feast to 69420, then we can spam you. I don't know how, but that phone number was for sale. We also own 42069.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. Hey, so last question, being, that we discussed, your successes and you're someone that so many creators out there idolize. Who, did you idolize growing up? It doesn't have to be a creator, whether it's an inventor or business executive. You mentioned Steve Jobs earlier.
It kind of changes throughout the years. I think, obviously PewDiePie, just because I liked how humble he was and how it didn't go to his head. You know, at one point, when I was really young, it was even like the Paul brothers a little bit. The fact that like Logan made like a video every day for 500 days kind of just helped me realize like, you know, if you want it, you can make it happen. Stop being a lazy. You know, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
You're allowed to
Stop
swear.
being lazy. We'll go with that. And then you know, after that, it was you know a lot of like Elon and Steve Jobs. Like probably the last few years have been the people I look up to the most. Just like Steve, he you know he's mean to his employees. I don't think he should have been. He could have been nice and accomplished just as much in my opinion, but his unrelenting obsession with making a great product, and like this iPhone, you know, iPhone's like the most successful product in history ever created, you know what I mean? And it's just so beautiful and so far ahead of its time, and he was so just obsessed with making a great product. And I want to have that kind of obsession with videos. I want to make the best video, period, no matter what, the best videos on the fucking planet, no excuses. And so Steve really inspires me in that way. And then Elon, and just the way that, you know, he built SpaceX, Tesla at the same time. Like that also kind of, you know, opened my eyes that like really anything's possible. It's just kind of like, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean? If he can build a company that's going to put people on Mars while also weaning us off of gas cars at the same time, you know, I can get a YouTube video out the door. You know what I mean?
Wow. No, that's amazing. And it's amazing who inspires you and what drives you. You once told me that your goal was to make $1 billion and to give it all away. What's your updated goal in the last couple of years?
Well, I know that dying with a bunch of money is a complete waste of time, or not a waste of time. It's just dumb. You know what I mean? I enjoy helping people, and so if I'm gonna spend my whole life making money just because it's kind of fun, before I die, I want to give literally 100% of everything I own away. Because just why not? Who cares? After I'm dead, I'm dead. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't. Instead of putting a dollar amount on it, now it's more just I just want to make as much money as I can in my life, and then do as much good with that money before I die. That's basically what I want to do.
Jimmy, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
and to be a part of this celebration of Creator Day, April 23rd. We celebrate the anniversary of like the first YouTube video, which is, do you know which video that is?
Yeah, of course. Meet me at the zoo.
Yeah, maybe at the zoo. Just like that video is historic. I really believe the stuff that you're doing is going to be stuff that's
Oh
not
my
just.
gosh!
Hey, let me do
Say
this. Let me
something
do this.
mean.
Hey, I'm not
No.
sucking up. I'm not sucking up.
I'm leaving.
Hey. Well, anyways, he's still on. He just turned off his camera. But I think what Jimmy's doing is historic, and it's going to change how entertainment works. And it's going to be something that's not going to be remembered for decades, but I think it's going to be what he is doing is going to be remembered for over a century. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this video and subscribe. See you all soon.